Hey everyone, Nick here again, back to talk about The Walking Dead. This is my review of episode 14 of season 8. And, this episode was, kind of another conflicting one for me because it had a lot of really good aspects about it, and one really troubling one. I will save that for the end. I will start with the positives of this episode, which were the acting and the dialogue. Absolutely top-notch from everyone. We actually got some real character development with quite a few characters, and it was, for the most part, positive development. Rick and Michonne had a lot of really good development together, and Andrew Lincoln and Denai Guerrera, their performances were fantastic, as always, but they were really especially good this week. I thought they were in top form. Carol and Morgan had some good scenes together. They had some good dialogue, some good development for both of them. And again, Melissa McBride and Lenny James were fantastic. We got to really see Ezekiel for the first time in a while. Like, really the first time since the mid-season premiere. He had some significant screen time. So, it's good to see him again. We saw a little bit more of Negan's human side that we all know is in there somewhere, but doesn't really like to come out too often. But came out in this episode, and honestly, the scenes with him and Jadis at the junkyard were probably my favorite of the episode, which I did not think I would say. Speaking of Jadis, though, Pollyanna McIntosh, her performance was the best she's ever had on this show. So, yeah, Jadis has really come a long way with me. Even the kid who plays Henry was really good in this episode. And, you know, like, I was prepared to just keep on hating on this kid. And I can't really say that I like him too much at this point, but, you know, I understand him. Definitely. And I will say this about him. He was on his own for what seemed to be at least a full day. And he was able to stay alive. Admittedly, Carol got him probably at the last possible second, but still, it showed that this kid actually has a little bit of potential. And I said it before when he showed no mercy killing Gavin, that this kid might just have what it takes to adapt to this world. Speaking of Carol finding him, that was a really good callback to Season 2, when Rick left Sophia in what I thought was a very similar place, but I came to find out was the exact same place. Like, it was filmed in the exact same place as it was in Season 2. And the actor who plays Henry is the younger brother of the actress who played Sophia. So, yeah, it was really full circle for Carol, because she couldn't save her daughter, but she was able to save Henry. And you know what? Carol was due for a win when it comes to saving kids, because every kid that she has ever encountered has died. Even Carl. There's not one kid that Carol has been able to save. I mean, I'm not trying to say she had anything to do with Carl's death. I mean, she didn't even know about it until after it had happened. My point is, kids around her do not fare well. So, you know, I may not care much about Henry, but I care about Carol, and I'm very happy that another kid didn't die on her watch. Daryl and Rosita had a few scenes in this episode. Not a lot. They weren't really in it for too long, but they did have a scene towards the end where they're near the sanctuary, and it seems like they're actually about to take out Eugene, which I definitely think has potential to be interesting. Because, look, I'm positive that they're not just going to snipe Eugene from their hiding place. Like, that's not going to happen. I feel like they're probably going to go in, or maybe they'll get captured. And in the next episode, they will have a talk with him. And I think it's Eugene's last shot at redemption, because he does not have a lot of time left to switch sides. There's 2 episodes left this season, and it does seem like All Out War will end this season, so he He's really got to jump ship soon or he's just gonna die. Now let's get to the big problem I had with the episode. If you watched my reaction video, you probably already know what it is. And if you've been reading any of my comments that I've been sharing across various social medias, you'll definitely know that I hated seeing Rick and Morgan murder those saviors. Not kill them, murder them. There is a difference. Killing is something you gotta do. Killing is when your back's against the wall and it's you or the other guy. But Rick and Morgan did not have to kill these saviors. They shouldn't have killed these saviors. Let's recap. Those saviors knocked out Jared, the long-haired guy, before he could shoot them, because it looked like he was about to. And then as the walkers were coming in, one of them untied Rick and Morgan. If he hadn't done that, they would have been eaten alive. And after that, another walker came up on Rick, just snuck right up on him, and it would have bitten him, but one of the saviors shot that walker. Rick and Morgan would be dead without those guys. And what do? They execute them like they're nothing. Don't get me wrong. Jared had to die. I'm not shedding any tears over him. The problem is, I couldn't enjoy his death as much as I would have liked, because I was still just so appalled by Rick and Morgan just executing everybody else. Because that's what it was. It was totally unjustified, uncalled for. It was totally out of character for Rick. If just Morgan had done it, I might have been able to buy it a little more, but I still would not have liked it very much. But with Rick, it was completely out of character for him. And it didn't sit right with me, because Rick's our protagonist. We're supposed to be rooting for him, because he's supposed to be the good guy. Now I know that good and bad has always kind of been a relative term in The Walking Dead. Like so many people have said that if we had seen Negan from the beginning, and then Rick showed up, everyone would be rooting for Negan to take him out. So yeah, I get that. I get that there's a little bit of a gray area, but it wasn't what I had come to know Rick to be. Rick is not that kind of person until now, and it doesn't make any sense to me. Negan kept his word to Jadis. He said that he wouldn't do anything if she let him go, and that he would help her, and he extended the offer to keep on having her on his side. So Negan kept his word, but Rick flat out promised those saviors that he wouldn't kill them, and then he did. So it's like Rick is no better than Negan, and in fact he may even be worse. Because at this point he's just about on the level of Simon, and dare I say, even the governor. Obviously, I don't like Negan for what he did to Glenn and Abraham, but in his warped mind, with his sick, twisted logic, he had a reason for it. We don't like that reason because we knew Glenn and Abraham beforehand, but there was at least some logic with him. As we've come to know Negan, we've come to see that this is sort of how he operates. But Rick, he has never been one to murder people. Yeah, he's killed people that were, like, unarmed, trying to surrender, trying to weasel their way out of it. Like Gareth and his group. Or the cop back at the hospital in Atlanta that he ran over and then executed. Like, you know, there's some moral gray areas with Rick, for sure. And I expect that, but there's nothing really gray about this. He murdered people that were helping him. And I don't think that's right. I am happy to see that in the other reaction videos that I've watched, or watched part of, the most common opinion on that scene is that Rick and Morgan did not have to do that. It's like 90% they didn't have to do that, 10% yeah, F those guys. So yeah, I'm proud of my fellow reactors for that. To know that they still got some conscience. Honestly, I'm going to give this episode an 8 out of 10 because the acting was so good, the dialogue was so good, and there were just a lot of really good aspects about the episode. But Rick and Morgan sinking to a new low, it was really hard for me to stomach. And it still is, and I am engaged in several online debates about it as we speak. That'll do it for this video. See you next time.